Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 1929 Mercedes-Benz Super Sport Kurz Barker Roadster. Now this was produced between 1928 and 1932 and was an evolution of the 1927 Model S. Less than 40 of these were made and around half of those were sold as racing cars. And yeah, I'd just like to break down the name a little bit because there is quite a lot there to take in, some of which you might not even be aware of. So yeah, Kurz is German for short, as it was 19 inches shorter than the Model S it was based on, purely to make it more lightweight and more agile for racing. And yeah, Barker is in reference to the coachwork builder Barker of London. And yeah, Roadster obviously stands for open two-seater with a sporting focus. So yeah, quite a formidable race car back in the day, as it won the Cordoba, Argentine, Irish and German Grand Prix, as well as the 1929 500 miles of Argentine and the 1931 Mille Mila. And yeah, just a really good sports car in its own right, as well as it was one of the quickest and highest rated cars back in the day. It was notable for its high top speed and its really rather fierce reputation on the track. And yeah, really glad this is in the game, because there's very few of these left anymore. Any that were survived, you know, the racing experiences it went through were either cut up for parts. So yeah, only around 3 to 5 of these remain around these days, and back in the early 2000s one of these sold for more than £4 million. So yeah, quite a rare vehicle, and I'd love to know where they got one of these to model it, because yeah, can't have been an easy find, that's for sure. So yeah, the part of the reason for this being so formidable on the racing circuits is the engine, and it's a pretty sizable one at that as well. So yeah, 7.1 litre supercharged inline 6 engine, producing 200 horsepower and 332 pounds-feet of torque. Now, granted, that's not the most powerful car that we've had from around this period. The Bentley 8 litre has more power than that and more torque, but this certainly has more power and more torque than the 4.5 litre supercharged that is also from Bentley. And yeah, it's also the oldest Mercedes-Benz that we've had on this on Forza series in general, really. And yeah, interesting thing about this car as well is that it was designed by Ferdinand Porsche, and it was actually the final vehicle he designed for Mercedes-Benz before inevitably going on to make, you know, his own car brand, the Porsches themselves. So yeah. And an interesting part about the engineering is its supercharger. It's operated by a clutch that was engaged by fully depressing the throttle and then giving it a little bit of an extra push to engage the supercharger. And then when you came off the throttle, it disengaged it. So yeah, no idea how much power this car produced without the supercharger, but yeah, I'm guaranteeing that it gave a lot of the extra power. And yeah, wouldn't have been all that quick without it, quite frankly. But yeah, nonetheless, the amount of detail on this vehicle that has been given from, you know, in real life is incredible, and yeah, it really does look like the real thing. And yeah, love this interior with its huge steering wheel and the fact that the handbrake there is right where the passenger would be sitting. So yeah, wouldn't be comfortable for the passenger, that's for sure. But it's obviously a driver's car, so the focus is on the driver. And yeah, I just love how much of the car is literally the engine and the little bit in front behind it, and then so little is given to the passengers and passenger and the driver. I also like the fact that there's 2 spare wheels on the back, which indicates that it is for racing, because, you know, if you lose a tyre, you obviously want to be able to change it on the fly and not have to run with a flat tyre. I also do like the exhaust as well, which is triangular and flat. Never seen an exhaust like that before, but then again, this is back in the old days of racing and sports cars, where everything was tried to, you know, get the best kind of car going. And I do love the fact that the exhaust is coming out of the bonnet as well. So yeah, visually a really rather appealing car, and yeah, I've been looking forward to driving this car for a very long time, ever since it was announced that it was going to be a part of the game. Yeah, and I couldn't wait for the car pass date to finally come up to this car, because yeah, I do really like the classic cars that they put on this game, with the 2 1931 Bentleys, and now this. Yeah, we've got some of the best pre-war racers on the or pre-war cars in general ever on a Forza game, quite frankly. But nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what it can do. So yeah, weirdly enough, this isn't as quick as the 4.5 litre supercharged from Bentley, despite having more power, more torque and a significant amount less weight at 3,725 pounds. I can only think it's down to either gearing or launch or something like that, because it doesn't really make any sense for it to be slower than that car despite having more power. It is inevitably slower than the Bentley though, 8 litre to 100, but it beats both of the Bentleys in terms of top speed and beats the 8 litre in terms of 0 to 60 time. So yeah, 0 to 60 in 14.023 seconds, 0 to 153 seconds, and it going to a top speed of 114 miles an hour. Though it was reported online that this could actually get up to around 120, which, you know, made it the fastest car of its time. And yeah, it's a little bit similar in terms of handling as the two Bentleys that I've already mentioned, but it actually handles a little bit better because it has less weight than both of them, and because it has a decent amount of power and torque, no, not quite as much as the 8 litre, it's actually a little bit more manageable in terms of handling, because yeah, that 8 litre has quite a hefty amount of horsepower and torque for a car of its age. So yeah, this handles its power a lot better, and because obviously it's lighter, it's not dealing with so much body work, rolling around, etc. So yeah, really pleased by this car, and really glad it's on the game. And yeah, weirdly enough, I think me and a subscriber were talking about old cars we'd like to see from back in the day, and this was actually mentioned during our conversation, and yeah, really pleased that they finally put it in the game. There are plenty of cars from the late 20s, early 30s that have gone unnoticed on racing games in general, never mind the Forza series, and I'm really glad this is in the game now, and hopefully it means that it's in future Forza games as well, because I'd love to try this around on a track. But in terms of being on this game, it's really rather decent, to be honest. Really rather surprised by how fast it is in terms of top speed. Not really showing that now, but yeah, it is 10 mile an hour quicker than both those 1931 Bentleys, which, you know, makes enough of a difference, quite frankly, even though similar wise it's quite similar in terms of engine and you know, general RPM range and the like, because yeah, neither of this car or the Bentleys rev all that high, and yeah, certainly have that handling issues when you really rather push it, but on the whole it's a far better handling car than I was expecting, especially from the 1920s, and yeah, it's the second oldest car we've ever had on a Forza game, with only the Bugatti Type C, I think it's called, being older than this, from 1926, so yeah, hopefully we get more cars like this in future Forza games, because yeah, I think the car pass has pretty much run its course now. There's a few more weeks left, but from what I can see, there are no older cars like this coming, which is a shame, because like I said, there are plenty out there that have racing pedigree and plenty of interesting things about them that would really rather suit having them on a racing game, quite frankly. But yeah, really got to learn how to wrestle a car like this, because yeah, it certainly doesn't have the you know, the technology to match its power, really, because obviously this has the same kind of power as a hot hatchback from nowadays, but certainly doesn't have the handling or the braking for sure. But nonetheless, cracking vehicle, and yeah, hugely pleased it's on the game, quite frankly, because yeah, like I said, there's not enough of these kind of cars. This is only the second ever car we've had from the 20s on a Forza game, and yeah, there are a lot more out there that should have a place in Forza games, because yeah, there's no point really enjoying modern cars if you can't appreciate where, you know, all the technology and the ideas and innovations came from, quite frankly, and this is easily one of those innovators. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.